Hey everybody, hope you're all well. Just getting you guys up on the other screen so that I can watch the comments. And here we are. Hey Josh, Mike, Tobacco Pipes and More. We'll call you TPM because I won't remember your name. Jack, how you doing? Congrats on the 0-0, man. 0-0. I think that's the result all round. You're Okie. I would have forgotten for sure. Okie dokie. Try to remember that. Okie dokie. I'm sure you've been called that many times before. Right, time for my first pipe today. I've not had a pipe yet. And in my mind, I've been waiting to have this blend. One of the packages that Andrew Sirigliano sent me a while ago, samples of a few different blends. So there's McBaron's Navy Flake from 1997. There's Watch City Simply Oriental 2020. Simply Red 2019. Wally Golden Slice 2009. That's the one I'm going for. 2009. This one probably is the one with Burley as opposed to Perique. It changed. I forget when it was it changed. It may have been around 2013, something like that. I don't know. Maybe 2003. I forget. It's quite a big flake. It's like a McBaron kind of sized flake. But it's really thin. It's wafer thin. It's a bit like Stonehaven thin. And it's pretty dry and it's ready to go. So I'm folding and stuffing. So all I've done is folded it in half and then across itself. So it's just long strands. And I'm putting that straight in. I'm not usually a folder and stuffer, but it seemed to be sensible on this one. A45. So for those of you who don't, this is a good way of getting, all the little crumbs in. Just create a cup around the top of the ridge of the pipe, the rim of the pipe, pour your tobacco in and just give it a shock so it all goes into the middle. Just give it a little tap with your finger. And there you go, no loss of tobacco. The Dukes of Hazzard. I haven't seen the game, Jack, but I don't watch anything on Saturday. But perhaps I'll catch a repeat of it, replay. Okay, Orly Golden Slice 2009 in my LCS bent billiard. Well, bent, not exactly a billiard, but hey Gary, is it Father's Day today? I didn't know. Oh, you've got some ordered? 558, Watch City Flake. Well, it's got the same flavour profile so far. Well, Jack, I've prepared your package. I've put in as much McClelland in there as I can that I've got open. I've given you a few samples from different things. I've given you some 40th. I've given you some Christmas cheer. I've given you some Balkan Blue, which is a lovely, smooth Balkan blend. I can't remember what else. Certainly a few blends to be getting on with. Enough to get you disappointed that you don't have any. Well, it's all worth a try. I've tried a Scudo in the past. I found it a little bit sort of rougher than Navy rolls, and I prefer smoother, sweeter blends. So at the time, Navy rolls was my thing, but I'm much more leaning towards Virginias with a very slight profile to it. So things like Orley Golden Sliced really is ticking the boxes at the moment. What tobaccos do I recommend, Gary? That's a really hard question to answer because you really have to find that out yourself. But there's two tobaccos which I recommend now if anybody asks me as a way-in, to start enjoying tobacco. I recommend Orley Golden Sliced if you can get it, and if you can't, Erin Morflake. I think you can't go wrong with those, and that will at least give you an introduction to see which way you want to go. There's a little bit of, it's Virginias, but there's also a bit of flavour there, additional flavouring, so it should be a good way in. Old Dominion is a good vapour, a really good vapour. I found it to be quite a strong, full-on vapour. I was lucky enough to have an awesome friend in the name of James who sent me a good lump of it, so I'll be okay for that for a while. If I could, I would probably sell it. I'd get more of it. It's worthwhile. I can only imagine what it would be like in a few years' time. Probably be a lot better. Jeffrey, how you doing? Hey, Karma. Yep, I heard about that. Jack actually messaged me earlier on about that, about the McClelland tobacco. I saw it on Friday, and apparently it sold immediately. And they were selling it for some. They apparently found some aged McClelland tobacco. 15 minutes. Did you manage to get any cellar, James? $120 is not ridiculous anymore. That's a pretty good price. If that was for the 100-gram tins, $120 is not that bad. You have a look at Pipestart and these guys, and Pipestart is a very, very fair website. Steve has very fair prices. He's probably the lowest that you could find for aged tobacco. If something's valuable, he's going to price it as such. Deep Hollow for $80. Cool. Shame, James. Well, I've I've had a fair bit of cellar since I discovered it a few years ago, and I think out of all of that, I think I've got one 50-gram tin left. I think that's about it, and that one I'll be holding on to. I believe I've got a tin of Pelican. It's actually a really old tin. It's probably 20 or so years old. I think that tin I got from the guy that passed away. Can't remember now his name. somebody who I was actually pretty good friends with on YouTube, but I just can't remember his name right now. Danny Shaw. Danny Shaw. Yeah, Josh, Danny Shaw. I'm trying to see if there's any difference in this 2009 version compared to the current version, and at the moment it just seems to me to be a smoother version of the same thing. I'm really not getting a different profile. The only thing is, I tried Pelican years ago, maybe 5 years ago, and I passed it on. I didn't really like it, but my palate was, let's just say, extremely immature. I'm not saying that it's mature now, but it was extremely immature in those days. So a lot of the stuff that I didn't like, I would probably enjoy now. I don't know, B-Dog. I don't think I've tried Deep Hollow. That sounds like a Balkan blend or an English blend. Is it? Is that what it is? Or possibly an Oriental. I was reading some old the Pipe Collector magazines, newsletters, and I was reading an article by Rich Esserman in which he quoted Mike, our Mike, Briar Blues, and he was talking about a Comoys, a beautiful Comoys freehand with a little foot, a little stand, built-in stand. I think you've still got that, Mike. Not wishing to swell Mike's already engorged ego, but you look back at some of the old literature, pipe literature, and Mike's quoted in there so many times. We don't realise that amongst us we have a very, very, very well heel-trodden, well-versed celebrity in the pipe industry. I've been the benefit, I've been what's the word? The beneficiary of his sage advice many, many times. Hey, Patrick. Trodden over. It could be just because I haven't smoked yet today, but before this bowl, but it feels a little bit richer now as I'm getting into the bowl. Did someone say, hey Geary, is he in the house? I didn't see him, I missed him. Oh, Geary's there. Hi Geary. Hope you're well. I'm trying out some Oleg Golden Slice from 2009, which Andrew Sirigliano sent me. Tony, Rhode Island, how you doing? So I received a package today with some bamboo and some briar. I've been trying to find this sort of bamboo which has got a decent enough girth so that I can use it for 9mm pipes. And I got these three, and they look like it looks like it's feasible. I'm not sure about bending this. I believe that there is a way you can bend it with heat, but there's a risk of it collapsing as you bend it, and because as you see you've got these nodules which like a groove which runs up the side, and you bend that would be a weak spot and the whole thing could just collapse and crease. So what I'll probably do is just cut it there and use that piece, and then cut it there, or make these single knuckles. I'm sorry, James, no, that hasn't arrived yet. You can drill it, but I mean, I can't drill a curved. I know there are some people out there who have these special drill bits that you can drill curved, but I don't have that. And I think I mean, if that can be done accurately, that would be pretty cool. And Mike, have you come across those before? Have you come across pipes that have had curved bits through them and they've been successful? Good pipes to smoke, or no difference? And this one, perfectly straight. Can you imagine a church warden like that? Awesome. But I definitely like to make, it's got a nice colour as well. It's got a yellowy kind of colour. The first one I made was much whiter. So I'm looking forward to making some more bamboo. The one that I've got, which I use myself, I've got to tell you, I don't know if it's to do with the bamboo or if it's just the pipe, maybe the length, but it's got a long shank. It smokes beautifully. I've not heard of Juke. So Jacopo, have you smoked one? Any pipe which has been drilled with a curved bit? And this one is nice and long, reasonably straight, so I could get, easily, 2 knuckles out of these, make quite a few pipes. There's this. I could probably get about 10-15 pipes out of this lot, which I'm really happy about. Good size. And it would be quite cool to make a church warden one out of these. A German carver, okay. Hearth and Home Black House 10th year anniversary mixture. No, funny you should say that. The width is only an issue for me because I like to do 9mm pipes. Although recently I've been doing standard tenons, but still my bread and butter is 9mm. So I've been wanting to venture into bamboo pipes, but still to be able to use them on 9mm with 9mm tenons. Obviously, that needs a lot more width. You drill it out straight, then put thick bendable garden wire in the centre while bending so it doesn't collapse. Yeah, but what I want to do is unbend. But thanks for that. I mean, that's a really good tip. But what about that? If I wanted to straighten that first, I guess straightening it wouldn't be such a problem. It's bending it where the collapsing could be an issue. Straightening it might cause a little bit of an issue here, and if that did happen, all I would do is lose one knuckle. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I mean, I could probably do it with a heat gun as well. Each section depends on the stick. Each one is different. This one is about 2 inches between each one. It's about 1.5 inches, and that's about also 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches, and over there it's just about 1 inch. It really depends. It's a natural product, so it's different. The bamboo was about 20 pounds, something like that. Wow, that is interesting. 45. The Maven of Stonehaven. I like that, Mike. Let's have a swig of coffee, then I'll show you a few other bits and bobs. Well, this week I'll be in and out of the workshop because I've got a couple of weddings this week. Although the exit from lockdown has been postponed by 4 weeks, they've still allowed weddings because obviously loads of people will have set up their weddings who had already cancelled it a year ago, so they weren't going to do that again. What they've said is there's no limit on the numbers of people that can be at weddings, but just that they have to. The limit is the amount of people that can be in the venue at one time whilst being socially distanced. So basically you got to measure it, and that's the maximum of people that are allowed. So it's only limited by social distancing. But other than that, if you've got a huge venue, you can have as many people as it will allow. So be a bit of a busy week this week, and so I'll only be in for a few days this week in the workshop. Although I do have quite a few commissions which have been booked in the last few days, which I'm very happy about. I think it's 3 or 4 pipes. So I'm looking forward to doing those. So you remember this pipe I drew out a while back. It's a Magnum goblet kind of pipe. I made one of these a while back, and the same customer, he wants another one. He said the one that I made last time is his absolute favourite pipe, so he wants me to make another one. Basically I had a very, very heavily rusticated area at the bottom, and there was some scalloping on there as well, and then a smooth goblet kind of pipe emerged from that sort of rocky kind of area, and he's very happy with it. Actually, he sent me a picture. I might be able to. That's the pipe that I made at the time. So you can see that rusticated sort of rocky kind of base, sort of goblet kind of thing emerging from it. It's a large pipe. It was good fun making that pipe. Hey Phil, how you doing? G'day Glenn. Yeah, could do a honey drip pipe, but it's not what he wanted. It's not what he's ordered, so I won't. I'm not on that one. But it is something, drip wax. Mike's been encouraging me to do that as well. And another commission is to do a cobra. So I've printed out some pictures of a cobra pipe. So that's going to be a commission in the near future, and I'll find the right block for it. What else did I print out here? Yeah, so I just printed out another. This is a Bat Shaquan, but it's fairly basic comparatively, but just to get the overall shape. And then the underbelly of a cobra. Ooh. Mike, if you have any pictures of decent cobra pipes, would appreciate that. And I've brought out this jar of a vintage Markovich black and white mixture. Now, I got this, it's very vintage. I think it's from the 1950s or something like that. It was a regular tobacco. I think it was also made... Markovich was the company that made it. I'm not sure if it was done in the house of Sobrani or not. I forget. Anyway, it was a very sought after blend once it had gone away. I tried it once and I didn't like it that much. I sent some out to Messrs. Walters, to Stephen and to Tim to try, and Tim liked it. So I'm probably going to try that again tonight once I've finished the Oleg. I brought some pipes out with me. So this is, I'm going to try it in this. This is my sort of Danish apple. I've obviously missed something there, Mike, that you've been going through today with your washing. But that's what happens when somebody moves in. So this pipe has been on my site for quite some time. So I'm going to perhaps reimagine it a little bit and see if I can make something more interesting out of it. So that's going to be sitting on my bench. And these I just brought out in case I could tempt anybody with a good price. It's a Bulldog, 9mm Bulldog. And then of course we have the Mortar barrel pipe. Now I've got to tell you, this is a very, very well balanced pipe, and it's on my website for a ridiculous price as well. And this was the pipe that I made with the Ivorite trimmings. So perhaps I thought I'd be able to tempt somebody with those. And also this one, which I'm really surprised, I've been trying to get into the non-filtered pipes, and I made this one, and hand-cut stem as well, and I'm amazed that it hasn't sold. I mean, nothing to do with conceitedness, I just thought it would have sold very quickly. A stubby apple, with lovely, lovely grain, very, very clean piece of briar, and a regular, first of all, beautiful piece of green black ebonite, perfectly placed, the grain there, a nice bit. And regular tenon, countersunk. But you can't predict what will and won't sell. I mean, for somebody who likes a stubby pipe, this is absolutely spot on in all areas. Perfectly drilled. A nice tapered chamber. Easy to clench. I keep it in this bag because I don't want it to get any scratches, any dings on it. But that's the way it goes. Hopefully it'll sell. Hopefully they'll all sell in due course. So we've got some briar in. Some nice looking briar. This one looks very, very promising. Very, very tight grain there. and even without sanding it, it looks pretty amazing, the grain. I don't know if it's on both sides, but it looks phenomenal. So I'm looking forward to getting into that block. I like that, Phil. And I've also got some more Eberschons, big sized Eberschons. So that's all for the future pipes. No, Jack, it's not. That's not the purpose that I brought it out. I brought it out to smoke this Markovic. But you let me know, I'll make you one. You can commission one, Jack. And this Orlik Golden Slice is definitely richer. And as I'm smoking down, it could well be the other version with the Burleys. Very possible. It's got a slightly more savoury note to it. It could also be because of the age, you know, whatever flavouring goes into it has dissipated a little bit, but definitely a more savoury and much punchier smoke. So apparently it's Pipe Week this week, isn't it? Mike's doing a live Zoom tomorrow evening, which I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get to. I'll try and have it in my ear on my Bluetooth, but I'll be out at the time. I've got a bunch of other pipes which have been sitting out here for a couple of weeks now, which I haven't put together in any kind of order. I haven't put this one on my website yet. It's a lovely bent, full bent pipe, billiard, with a carved blast finish. A very nice carved blast finish. Unstained. You can see a bit of the grain coming through. And this is 9mm, yeah. There's another carved blasted 9mm, which I'm surprised hadn't sold yet. And this one too, beautiful pipe, this one. Gorgeous pipe. Yeah, so quite a handful of decent pipes here, waiting to go on sale at some point. Oh, and I've got James's bits and pieces here, which I meant to take into the house, which didn't get taken into the house because they were left in this bag. So I've got to remember to take those back in. This one is one of my Boswell pipes, which smokes beautiful. I made this stem for it a while ago. It's a hand-cut stem. But I want to make a different stem, a slightly shorter stem for this. So's mine, Glenn. Mine is very low, and my wife has informed me that she wants to go shopping tomorrow, and I'm relying on that PayPal account at the moment. But hopefully the weddings this week will boost the balance for a while. Hippo. What tobacco did you buy, Glenn? Hey Rusty, how you doing? I didn't see you pop in. Caleb, how you doing? As I've been saying, this Orley Golden Slicer is definitely more robust than the current version that I'm smoking. I think what I'm going to do is just mix it in with a jar of OGS that I've got out here. I'll just give that a little bit of a boost, I guess. Triple play plug. I've heard a few people talk about that recently. Is that C&D? You can see the difference in colour. I mean, that's really dark compared to that, which is much lighter. You can't see it through the glass, but you can see the difference in colour there. You should be able to. Maybe not, but there is a difference there. GLPs, yeah, same thing, really. Ah, it smells great. GLP, C&D, it's all the same stuff anyway these days. It's all made by C&D, isn't it? Which is all owned by Lodizi, isn't it, nowadays? Lodizi, Lodazi, Loduzi, whatever they're called. OGS, it's got a great aroma. What a great tobacco. I did get some Rhino blend. Dale Piper recommended it to me. I got a couple of tins of it. I've got one sealed tin and one in a jar. I smoked it when I first got the Rhino blend, and I didn't like it. I mean, I didn't dislike it. It just was nothing. It didn't bring anything to the table. I thought it was a lesser blend compared to OGS. Very similar, but it just wasn't as nice as OGS to me. But I decided to leave it in the jar for a while. I've left it in there. It's been a few months now. I'll try it again soon and see if it develops a little bit with some age and jarring. I found that with the vintage flake from the Danish pipe shop, the my own blend, the pull. I forget his name, but the guy who owns the My Own Blend brand. I tried that and I didn't like it initially, but after a year's age, it was much better. Beautiful, sweet blend. So I stocked up on that, and I'm kind of making my way through it. When I get an opportunity again to get some tobacco from the Danish pipe shop, I'll restock on that. What else? And thank you, Gary. But I'm now of the school of thought where, although I enjoy trying new tobaccos, as I mentioned in my video on Friday, if you find tobaccos that you enjoy, just focus on those more. I've always been one to explore and enjoy and enjoy the hunt for, especially when it comes to trying to find difficult blends. I enjoy that, and I still do that occasionally. I don't have that sort of pull anymore, but I definitely enjoyed the hunt. And people who do enjoy that should carry on doing that. I'm not one of those people who say, no, this is the way you have to do it. Everybody does whatever suits them. But where I'm at the moment, because of the way the world is going towards tobacco, I'm definitely, just focusing more on the tobaccos that I know that I like. So Orlik Golden Sliced in its current guise, for me, is the best version of Orlik Golden Sliced to my palate. I've smoked the other one. I've still got one tin left of the older version, the Burley version, in the small square tins. That one is from, I think it's from 2003 maybe, something like that. But yeah, Orlik is really doing it for me at the moment. Somebody contacted me by email about 507C, Sutliff, and originally when he emailed me, I thought he was referring to 515RC1 because I had talked about that. This tamper was made by none other than James Stumbo. He's made quite a few of these baseball tampers, but this one he made with olive wood from Jerusalem, which I really treasure, and that's why it's in the workshop, so I make sure that I use it. There are some things which I get, which I treasure, and I don't use with a possible thought of passing on or selling because I think it has value, but this has personal value, so I want to use it. So what was I saying? Yeah, so the 507C, which is the Virginia slices, I bought a fair amount of that as well a while back when I did an order with Copper Joe's. And again, that was one that I didn't like so much when I first tried it. To me, it seemed very bland, but it was fresh. I need to revisit that as well. It's going to be really hard. No, we didn't replace the rabbits, and I don't think we will either. It's going to be really hard for Europe generally, and the rest of the world is going that way, but I don't see America doing it. I just don't see it because you guys have, you stand up for your rights. It's built into your constitution. Um, yeah, well, I smoke straight Virginias as well, and depending on what they are, they don't need Perique. I don't need Perique to enjoy a Virginia. You know, not special flake. Samuel Gowerth's full Virginia flake, for instance, I enjoy. Um, I enjoy Virginias. Mm. I retried the Peterson flake recently. I didn't enjoy it as much. I have to be honest. Mm. Full Virginia flake for me is what I call a pensive blend. It's a blend which, to get the most out of it, you need to be relaxed. To me, I'm just talking about myself, not talking about anybody else. Each person has their own way of smoking it. But to me, to my palate, it's a blend which needs to be sipped slowly, and you need to be able to focus on the flavors. You need to be undisturbed, sitting and relaxing. It's full Virginia flake. FVF is full Virginia flake. And I think there's so many layers of flavor there. But when you're doing stuff and you're concentrating on other things, you just can't. You just can't perceive them as well. And I find that if I sit back and just relax and enjoy, close my eyes, focus on the blend, you just get so much more from full Virginia flake. Initially, when you light it up, it comes across as a very linear, thin flavored Virginia, but there is a lot there. Yeah, I would agree with you on that, James. Like any Virginia is going to be better with age. Hey, Ganji. Mm, mm. You're probably right, Glenn. I must admit, I'm not a big Samuel Gowerth smoker. I don't have a lot of their blends on my regular rotation. I think I smoke more Germain's tobaccos, of the English companies. Well, they're not strictly English, but you know what I mean. I did for a while sort of start to explore the different blends, but didn't get very far. The only other one of note for me is Scottish Autumn Flake, which is a St James 2. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good call. Good shout there, Glenn. St James is good. Um, but Scottish Autumn Flake was a blend which I discovered when Tim Hermit Piper was selling off a bunch of his tobacco, and I bought a couple of tins. Really enjoyed it, and bought a few more tins, and then they stopped production. It seems to be available in Europe still, but here in the UK you can't get it anymore. The whole seasonal range. They've got the 4 seasons. They've got the summer flake, the Scottish Autumn Flake. The winter one I think is a Latakia blend. Spring is a straight Virginia, I think. I'm not sure, something like that. Hey Jeff, how you doing? I did actually bring out another A. Chapman half Corona, and I've cut it ready to go. But this is actually pretty full on. I'm not sure I'll need that. The brown flakes, they've got a huge following. I've just never got into them. It's not that I don't know if I'll like it or not. I just haven't tried them. Doing all right, Jeff. A little bit of a flare up on my foot, so I'm a little bit worried about that for the 2 weddings I've got to do this week. So I've gotten back onto the anti-inflammatories today, and I hope I'll have enough of it in my system to see me through the week. Still haven't got to the bottom of what the problem is, but there you go. Velvet, really, Josh? I have to admit, I did try to enjoy it. I don't know, the doctor says it's not gout. Previous times when I've been to the doctor, he said that it might be gout, but at the moment my surgery is all over the place. See a different person every time. And the one I saw the last told me that it definitely wasn't gout. She said that the tendons and all the soft tissue around the bones are inflamed. Lemon juice water. What is that in terms of for the gout? You mean it breaks down the acids? Is that what you're saying, Phil? What kind of concentration would you suggest? If I have pure lemon juice in a average size glass, how much would you put in? Like any undiluted drink, about ½ inch at the bottom, that kind of thing, or more? I don't mind lemon juice. I quite enjoy lemon juice. Diet and stress. Well, I don't feel particularly stressed, but that doesn't mean that I'm not. But I don't feel stressed. I'm sure it's to do with lack of sleep as well, and diet for sure. Chew on a lemon. Well, a doctor that's got experience, that has experience, many years' experience, and says that they don't know, is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not a good thing, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. At least they're honest. White sugar. Well, I just had some white sugar in there because we ran out of sweeteners. Trans fats, yeah, cooking oils, all bad news, yeah. Well, they're bad news generally, aren't they? Alright, somebody's trying to get hold of me. It's a no caller ID, so just bear with me a second. Oh, they've gone. And if they call again, I'll have to answer it. Stevia, never heard of it. I use Hermesitas here. I don't know what it's, if it's saccharine, probably is. I've never heard of that. I don't know if it's available here. Yeah, it's pretty cold. It's been hot this past week, but Wednesday weather turned. It rained on Wednesday, rained on Thursday. It's been raining on and off today, but and during the day it's not cold, but at night it's cold-ish. It's not freezing, but a beanie hat is just comfortable. Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, it was hot. It was hot at night as well. It was humid, not so much hot, but humid, sticky. 105. I guess it's what you're used to. I think if we suddenly started getting weather like that here, we'd all struggle big time. You guys are sad, you know that, don't you? Hmm. I can taste the burleys in this. I guess if it tastes like a burley, it is a burley. But they say that they only put a fraction, a little sort of a pinch of burley, and the same with the Perique nowadays. The polar pensioners' fault. You guys are obsessed with butts. Did you ever try this in your history? Vintage, what's it called? Markovich black and white mixture, Mike? Latakia fan, I know, but I thought it would be something you might have tried in the past. I found this bit of Cumberland, this brindle, in one of my drawers the other day, so I might use that for something. I mean, I have plenty of Cumberland, but this is the classic black and red. I think I've got some of that anyway. But I got a lot of different colours of brindle from this guy when I bought all that materials, all of those pipe making materials. And I got loads of different colours, different like sand colours. I've got greens, browns, lots of different shades of green and brown. Yeah, listen, you know what you like. If you don't like it, you don't like it. The Rambling Dilettante. Well, make a stem, I guess. That would be the idea. Well, I think that's me for now. Haven't really got much else to say, and I'm happy to let you guys chat in the background, but I'm not going to keep you here just for the sake of it. So if anybody's got a particular they want to talk about, go for it. Otherwise, I'll call it a night. Quick one tonight. All right. Well, everybody, thank you very much for a enjoyable hour or so. Thank you, Boris, James, Glenn. What shape pipes do I have coming up? Well, mostly classic shapes, except for a couple of commissions. So this one I showed before, I'm going to be doing a cobra shape. I've got a couple of billiards commissioned, and I've got this large goblet type thing commissioned. So that should be, those are the shapes that will be coming up in the near future. Okay, Mike. Yeah. Yeah, so I was thinking with this pipe is to do something like that with this pipe. Is maybe just do something similar, and do some kind of scalloping or some kind of carving to make it a little bit more interesting. This area here is a little bit sort of a bit of a cop out. It's just a straight back, but and the base as well is a bit bland. I mean, the reason why this shape is this shape was because of the grain. The grain just, it was kind of straightish here and then it went off on an angle. So I just followed that shape and I made the pipe to suit that shape. But it hasn't sold, obviously. It's been on my site for quite some time. So there's no harm to give it a whack and try and improve it. might smooth that off to get the bird's eye. Thank you, Jeffrey. I think Mike should tell us about the evolution of man from the beginning till now. You've got the whole of Pipe Week for that, Mike. How about that? Pipe Week started an hour ago here. Yeah, he was talking about the freehand. That's the side view. I mean, I could just sand it and stain it and just let the grain sort of pop through. It's got some really nice grain. But I think I'm going to do something along the lines of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shave off this shaded in area because that's all, there's plenty thickness there. Sort of just do a deep scallop there, a carve of some kind, and then just do some carving in there, and I'm going to just round off the base there a little bit and just still make the best out of the shape, so it'll turn out into be a bit of a forward canted freehand shape. So lose a bit of that over there and maybe scallop this a little bit and do the same on the other side. So something like that, there and there. We shall see. Any other ideas, Mike? Well, the front I want to leave because that's where the grain is. That's sort of jutting out. That's the feature of the pipe, but it just left the rest of the pipe a little bit. Maybe it wasn't conceived well enough, possibly. So possibly something along those lines. Only thing I might suggest is trim the back as you're shown, trim at the front, and possibly a shorter stem. Yeah, the stem I was anyway going to change because it's got a very narrow bit, and the bit on this pipe really ought to be a little bit wider because it's a heavier, it's not very heavy, but it's a heavier pipe. Once I trim it off, it might be lighter, but yeah, I'll probably do a hand cut stem. I'm going to try now to do a lot more hand cut stems. The last one that I did really worked out very well, and I can feel that my sort of skill in making hand cut pipes is improving all the time, and I'm kind of doing that more. So hopefully that will be something that will be. I'm kind of also working out what works for me in terms of the buttonhole, the draft hole. I know a lot of people do a wide hole and some people do a narrow one. The point of it is that the hole is supposed to be the same area as the round draft hole, but just in a flat. Some people do almost the full width of the button, which is, it fans it out very nicely, but it makes it wider. In reality, the area is wider than the draft hole, which is no bad thing. But I'm playing around with all of that. So far, I've done smaller ones, which I see a lot of the Danish high graders do that kind of thing. And it's really just to achieve the same area as the draft hole, and they don't go further, which is interesting. Well, the front will get a little bit trimmed off because I'm going to take this corner off. I've got to also watch the internals of the bowl and the wall thicknesses. I've got to make sure that I'm maintaining that. I really can't take that much off down here because obviously this is not a tapered bowl, so I've got to watch it. I can't really take much off there at all. But I will round it off. Over here I can take off, at the top I can take off and just maybe do a so I can add this line on, so just take off the nose but still finish up at the same spot there, so I won't lose the lower part of the pipe. Bamboo long shank, short taper stem. The problem with that is well, turning this would be difficult. I wouldn't really want to mess with this too much. So the bamboo would literally be sitting in there rather than, I don't know how well that kind of, I suppose that would look good actually. I have to just make sure that the angle is sitting correctly. Yeah, I'll certainly toy around with that and see. First thing I'll do is the bowl shape. I want to trim that, mostly the back area there I want to trim. And I'll trim some of the nose at the top, but I don't want to lose that shape, because it'll end up, if I trim this back here, then this is going to end up as a forward canted pipe. If I then take this off, it'll lose that shape to some extent. So it'll only be a bit that I take off the front. But yeah, I will smooth that off probably, and maybe do a scalloping on the top like I did with one of the freehand pipes before. I'll see how that works out. I need to put a bit of something on there, a band of some kind to make that solid. Yeah, that will fit in there nicely, this one. And I wouldn't make it this long, it's too long. I should leave the plateau. Well, we'll see. I'm not sure. I think the plateau might be too much once you do all the carving. I'm not sure the plateau will work, to be honest. It's just the wrong. I don't know how well it'll sit with it. I'm not sure. We'll see. I think the plateau might be a bit incongruous once you start carving it. It's a different organic look, if that makes sense. Yeah, so there'll definitely be organic caps. Ebonite caps rather. But I think that when you start doing a certain, to me anyway, I mean, I'm not telling you, Mike, you have your experience. Oh, you're saying I shouldn't carve it. Okay, we'll see. We will see. I definitely need to round this off and bring it in maybe a little bit more over here. So essentially making it a freehand or a free-form Dublin. I think that's really the way I'm looking at it. I just regret that I didn't use a tapered drill bit on this. It would have given me more room to play with on these edges here. Yeah, it does have good grain. I would agree with you on that, Mike. I think it will need staining though, because the grain doesn't show as well. So perhaps that will be the way to go initially, is to just refine the shape, make a new stem, stain it, and see how it looks, and see if it sells. Shall we have a whirl on the sander? It's time now, 1. Asses. Actually, I'll keep the small sanding all on. All right. I gave it a quick buff just to give you an idea of what it looks like. Obviously, I haven't done any sanding or anything, hand sanding. But yeah, at least you'll see the metamorphosis from what it was before. I suppose I could put the stem in. So this was obviously all the way back here, and taking a bit off the front, carved this out, giving it this line here, and that kind of all sort of follows on with this line here, that line there, and this line here. I'm trying to get that curve, but I can't go too far because I'm going to hit the base there. I'm still undecided about the plateau. I mean, if I could join these two lines here, it would be awesome, but I can't do it. Still lots of sanding to do there, but just the outer, just the rough sort of shaping of it. I possibly could go a little bit deeper there with that shaping, but I don't want to lose the curve, so I've got to watch that. Still stands as well. That's good. Well, it will do because there's more weight to come off there, so that should stand well once I flatten it out. If I take that off and make it a balanced kind of size, you're talking about there, which I think might be too much. If you imagine the pipe like that. Yeah, definitely some more can come off the front, but if I was to make it balanced, you'd be looking at something like that, which would, I think, change the pipe completely. Perhaps just bring it more, make it pointier at the front. Yeah, the hard line, that works, yeah. That automatically sort of makes this smaller, even though that bit is there, but it gives you that hard edge, and it kind of, I could even rusticate this just to make it look completely separate, and you have that smooth bit, but hopefully I won't need to do that. I could still round this off a little bit more, so you don't have this bit jutting out. There, yes, we will move some height, especially with that bit there, yeah, that's true. I could dome it. I'm not going to rush to take off the plateau, don't worry. We shall see. I mean, what I might do is possibly give that a brush. Once that's all smoothed and I'm happy with it, stained it a bit perhaps, maybe not, we'll see, and maybe just give that a black or a dark stain that will separate it out from the rest of the pipe, and it will highlight, it'll make the grain pop a little bit more as well. Yeah, well, that's a good point. It's a shame the user doesn't, yeah. This section here is starting to look a bit like Eric Weaver's pipes. I just have to be careful around here because this is a 9mm, so I don't want that to get too thin. It's about as thin as I dare go around here. I can take this back here as much as I want. The drill is somewhere down there. Don't really want to go much thinner here, I don't think. So that's probably just needs to be refined, but pretty much left at that thickness, because these three sides here are all roughly equal now. So that needs to stay roughly that. I mean, I can round off. Well, I can't if I want to keep that hard line, but make this a little bit thinner here for sure. All right, gents. Well, I think I'm off. Well, James, that was for you especially. Hard line on the front. What do you mean over here? And then that would maybe curve in that way. I'm not sure. Hard line on the front also, following the grain there from the plateau void, and the darker line on the other side. From there, you mean? And from that darker line on this side. Yeah, but if I did that, what do I do afterwards between the two hard lines? Because all that would end up being is a chiseled line. See here, I can do that here. If I did that, I would end up with a curve like that. I suppose I could do a line and then curve it around, yeah. Maybe. I'm not sure that will. A line there. It'll end up basically looking like a panelled pipe, essentially. Because you're going to have two panels, one on each side. And rather than being a square pipe, it'll be oval. But it will be basically a panelled pipe. Which is not really what I'm looking for, to be honest. Yeah, that's what I think, Phil, as well. I think what I want to do is have this be a little bit more oval. So like more like a freehand Dublin kind of idea. And just bring it in a little bit. See, this the way the shape is at the moment. The idea originally was to have like a bit of a skater kind of look, because the way it leans forward. I want to keep that because the grain supports it. So I just have to bring it in a bit. That's all. I think I'm gonna leave that soft, but just bring it in a little bit. Yeah, no, I appreciate the suggestions, Josh. No worries. I'll still, take on board whatever people say, but then still do what's right for the pipe in my, as I see it, really. do appreciate the suggestions. Don't feel that you don't want to make the suggestions, for sure. Make them. Well, I might carry that on a little bit tomorrow, sort of midday-ish for a bit. I'm out sort of later afternoon, evening, so... But the earlier part of the day I might be able to spend some time on it. Yeah, that's essentially what we're going to aim for, is just to thin that down a little bit. Yeah, I see where you're going with this, Josh. It does, because of the way this shape is, which is like the beginning of paneling, it would be good to mirror it on that side. I hear where you're coming from. I'm going to first try and just thin it down and see how it looks. And maybe I'll do, before I take too much off, I'll do a hard line and see what it looks like. And if I don't like it, I can still take it off. So I'll try that hard line before I take much of it off. Okay, thanks very much, everybody. Thank you for your contributions. Have a great weekend. Hopefully see you again soon. Catch you on the next one.